Alongside Eric Kane, Brent Hubbs, I'm Austin Price for the Rocky Top Roundtable on this South Carolina week. Guys, this is a big one for Tennessee. They've yet to put two games back-to-back together. They're the heavy favorite against South Carolina. If you go and win this game by double digits like it's predicted, how much momentum do you get off of a game like this when you just played a great game last week and then potentially this week?
Well, I mean, I think it certainly solidifies to your fan base you're moving in the right direction. Just if you win the game, much less how you win it, because this is a different challenge. This is not a great South Carolina team overall, but it's a different defensive challenge for Tennessee, and it presents certainly a great opportunity for Tennessee if they can go out and handle business.
Eric?
Yeah, it's one of those games where you are kind of feeding off some momentum right now. I know a lot of the players and the coaches earlier in the week said, hey, you got to flip the script and move on. It's going to be a different challenge for South Carolina. The defense actually has a pulse, and I recognize 3 of their 5 games have been outside of the Power 5, but they've been pretty good against the run. So it'll be a challenge in the South Carolina team, but certainly you win this football game. You do feed off that momentum, and you are rolling, and it gives this fan base something else to be excited about.
Tennessee offensively last week, Hendon Hooker was really, really good. Tyon Evans established himself in the run. A lot of questions about Jabari Small this week. But Tennessee feels pretty decent at the running back position. Lenneth Whitehead gave him something last week. Tennessee should be able to run the ball. They've run it effectively pretty much all year except for the Tennessee Tech game, which was kind of a head scratcher. But South Carolina decent up front, but Tennessee could run if they commit to it.
Well, I mean, I think Tennessee's going to commit to it because they've been committed to it all year long. I think the question mark with this one is how healthy are they at the running back position? And I think you've got to use Hendon Hooker in the run game here. And I thought they ran Hendon Hooker too much in the second half at Missouri, Eric, and got away with it. But I think in this game, when you look at it, Hendon Hooker's legs have to be a factor in the run game for Tennessee because they need that added dimension. Yeah,
I would agree. When the run game has been stalled so far this season, it's been Hendon Hooker. It's been a little Joe Milton that have got things going, whether that's a design quarterback draw, which is mostly what we see, a couple quarterback counters, some straight quarterback zones. He's had a big, run in the he's had a big area in the run game, and so for the running game, it's good for Tennessee that they've employed a lot of running backs. Jabari Small, his status is kind of up in the air. Good to see what they got from Lenneth Whitehead. Offensive line still question marks out front, but I don't expect it to be exactly what you saw against Missouri where they just went run, but Tennessee will do what the defense gives them, and last Saturday they allowed them to run. We'll have to see about this Saturday, maybe some play action off that run game early on.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker and Javonte Payton, that's been a kind of a duo the last 3 games, 3 straight touchdowns, or 3 straight games with a touchdown for Javonte Payton. He only had 1 last year at Mississippi State. What do you credit his success to, Brent?
Well, I think this system fits him. Vertical passing game, a lot of double moves, a lot of stuff that works to his advantage, and the way they stack receivers I think works to his advantage. And I think his opportunities are going to grow because of Velus Jones being in the slot. I think you got to look at what Tennessee has done offensively, and Alex Golis mentioned this week. Hey, we're dialing in on where all of our guys fit best. I think Velus Jones fits best in the slot, and because you have to recognize that, Austin, it may give you some better opportunities out wide on the perimeter.
No doubt about it. And again, Tennessee seems like they're, maybe it was just last week, seems like they're kind of lessening the rotation at receiver a little bit. Yeah. So more guys are getting, a little bit more focused in on as the season progresses. Flipping the side to defense, Tennessee's defense, Eric brought it up, they're very serviceable. And really outside of the Pittsburgh game, they're going to give up points. That's any game of football. But, they hadn't just been gashed outside of that second quarter against Pittsburgh.
But, Eric, the thing for me about the defense is just how solid they've been. And what I mean by that is you don't see a lot of guys just running wide open and safeties looking at each other going, what was that, or what are you doing? They have put themselves in a position. They've got to do some things better. I think we all acknowledge that. But they've been good against the run, and they just haven't given up that play to this point.
Yeah, how many times in years past have we seen just the confusion? What you mentioned, safeties putting their hands up and saying what's going on here. We haven't seen it a lot this year because of some veteran leadership back there. You got Alontae Taylor, you got 2 veteran safeties, and I thought it was big to get a lot of young guys in that rotation early on at Missouri to to kind of get in the flow. Defensive line-wise, you've got players, you've got guys that can rotate in, and you can tell they are adapting to the coaching of Rodney Garner. You're seeing that with increased and better play from guys like Matthew Butler, who's been here a couple of years. And then linebackers, Ryan John Murray, he's gotten more out of what he has than any coach on this staff. And he's turning Jeremy Banks into a serviceable linebacker. So the defense, maybe not as talented as everybody else in the league, but they're playing hard and they're taking coaching up pretty well right now. And the results are kind of speaking for themselves.
And this is a South Carolina offense that has a hard time.
They do.
They have a hard time. I think the key for Tennessee is twofold defensively. One, can you get off the field on third down? We talked about that in the stock report. They gave up way too many third longs in the first half against Missouri for your liking. And then secondly, don't let Luke Doty just run around and make play. You know what I mean? Don't let him go backyard off script on you. If you can keep him on script, I think Tennessee has a chance to have a really good day defensively.
Yeah, and just get off to a quick start. You know, get a turnover early, get some momentum. I feel like this team, above all other ones, because when you are less talented and you're thinner as far as depth, you've got to rely on little things, little intangibles, a little bit of juice early with an interception or a touchdown on offense. It just feels like this game is the kind that if you can get off to a quick start, I'm not going to say South Carolina's going to lay down, but you're right, they're limited on offense. So if you jump out, the chances of them actually being able to do anything offensively and catch you are slim and none because they've just not shown it to this point through in the first half of the season.
Don't feel like they can keep pace with you is the bottom line.
Yeah, and plus the tempo, getting off to a fast start, scoring early on, I think the tempo helped with that as well. I'll go with you, third down and long. 7 of 25 is what South Carolina's been offensively the last 2 games in third down situations. So Tennessee's got to take advantage of that.
He is Eric Kane and Brent Hubbs. I'm Austin Price. This has been the Rocky Top Roundtable for South Carolina Week.